As I drive into work right now, and doing my thing, I'm curious that most people think that their life is not interesting, or people are not willing to, or people don't want to know what's going on, what's their thoughts, how are they thinking. But, from what I kind of understand at this moment with this whole, with what I'm doing at this moment, is I realize that there's just a lot. The world is big, and 99.9% of the people out there, the vast majority of the people, huge majority of the people, are never ever going to do something like this because they're afraid of other people judging them, and they have sort of these beliefs in their minds that that they're not good enough. Why would I ever do anything like that? What does my life matter? I'm not all that, whatever all that is, all these kind of things, right? Like, there's so much that we sort of doubt and we think about, and we're like, I'm just not good enough. And I'm going to tell you this right now. There's 7.5 roughly billion people in this world. You're pretty awesome, no matter what you are. And there's always somebody that's interested in what you're doing and how you're thinking. So I actually want to talk about a little bit about that right now. So if you don't know me, I am Professor Dave Massac. I'm Associate Professor of Innovation Strategy and Entrepreneurship. And I created this whole Reciprocity Project to give back as much as I possibly can. There's so many people that help me out that I want to pay the favor for to help you out. So one thing that I've learned with doing so much content at this moment, both on YouTube, TikTok, various different platforms, this podcast, is that it's not how you think it actually works. So most of you think that you need to have like stellar, amazing things all the time, some really big insights. Or that you need to have this like super interesting thing. But you gotta remember, a lot of people, the way that the internet works is you put stuff out there, and what you're looking for is somebody just to kind of resonate with what you're doing, and it doesn't necessarily mean that they're going to resonate with everything that you say or whatever, but they just simply have to sort of catch an edge. Like when you're skating on ice skates, you have to get to a point where there's an edge that you catch, and then it sort of propels you forward. And so you provide a tremendous amount of content until you catch that edge where somebody might accidentally, and it's generally probably accidentally, is going to view this thing, right? And then they sort of understand, oh, okay, this is kind of interesting. And then they might listen to it again or watch it again, and it continuously repeats. But you have to understand, most people are incredibly busy, and they're only going to listen to a couple of things every once in a while. And so you have to imagine that there's only every once in a while somebody's ever going to catch your stuff. And so you can provide as much content, as much stuff in the world as you possibly can, and just realize that very few people are ever going to watch what you're doing or listen to what you're doing, but the people that it actually catches them and gets them at the right spot, and you catch that edge and you get them at the right spot, then they might actually sort of listen or understand or think about what you're coming from. And so you should never really think that you're ever providing enough content, or you're limited. You think about all the content that there is in this world. Like some people provide it like endlessly, radio shows, all those kind of things. There's just like so much that you can provide, like just endless amounts of content, and yet it's still not enough, right? Like there is so much that you could do, and it's never enough, because there's 7.5 billion people in this world. Only a tiny fraction. Even if you become the most popular in the world, like Justin Bieber, right? Like the most popular person in the world. He's probably one of the most popular people at this moment. And I don't listen to his stuff. Every once in a while, I might listen to it or catch that sort of content and think about that, that song. Every once in a while, some sort of catchy song. Well, I mean, I'm never going to watch his interview, but maybe one day there'll be something that, my son, for example, might be doing a project on, music superstars, and we might watch one of his videos. And then that might be the thing, that if he says something like intelligent and smart, I might actually say, hey, that's pretty smart. I might actually watch this again. One person that was like that was Leonardo DiCaprio. When he first came out, I thought he was really, there's this line from The Simpsons from a long time ago, a cheese-eating surrender monkey. And I just thought he was really cheesy, and he wasn't going to be the person I like. But over the years I've seen him, I've realized that he's an extremely talented artist and very thoughtful. He's just got a lot that's going on. And so I've grown to love what he's doing. And that's kind of what you do with this, right? You just don't care. And then maybe somebody will watch it, maybe it'll sort of resonate and click with them, and they'll be like, huh. And then they watch something else in another year of viewers, and they sort of clicks with them, and they sort of say, hey, I actually like and think about, this person is a little thoughtful, or has got some interesting things. So what I want to say is, don't ever be afraid to do as much as you want. All of those things are just self-doubts, and you are just thinking that you're not good enough. But even, it's cool. So there's lots of times where I'm like, I wonder what a 5-year-old is thinking. And so if I had that, where, a channel, for example, with a 5-year-old, and now it's a little hard with child labor laws, but, maybe it is somebody that's in, somebody that lives in the Amazon. I'm curious to think about what they're thinking or hear what they're thinking, right? So no matter where you are and what you're doing, people are going to be curious about this. Somebody is going to be curious about me in Japan, and they might say, hey, I wonder what the Canadian American professor is thinking, or a business professor is thinking, or whatever. And then they might, stumble across it because they sort of find me somehow, or somebody tells them about it. And I would never have guessed, right? Like somebody in Japan, or somebody in China, or somebody in Indonesia, something like that, right? I would never have guessed that there would be interest there, but there is, right? People are weird, right? 7.5 billion people. Somebody's going to have an interest in something that you actually do, or you stumble across. So don't ever be afraid to do interesting, crazy, things. Just do it. Have fun. Enjoy the process. Life is long, and there's a lot of great things out there. So with that, give me a couple of comments on the pod. Appreciate it. Take care and have a wonderful day.